Hey everyone, this week we're going to be multiplying decimals by whole numbers. Multiplying decimals, it's a little bit different than adding decimals because in adding and subtracting decimals, we line up the place values, right? So for example, if I had number 1 and I were adding, just pretend that this was addition, okay? In adding decimals, we would normally line up the decimal and line up the correct place values and then add or subtract, whichever one it says, right? But that is not the purpose and that is not the goal for this week. This week we are multiplying. So if we are multiplying, then we are not going to line up the place values. Instead of putting the 4 here, right, in the ones place, we're just going to put that 4 as far to the right as possible. Yes, the 4 is in the ones place, but when we're multiplying, we are just pushing it to the right. We need to put everything as far to the right as we can fit. So now that we have our problem set up, we need to go ahead and multiply using the standard algorithm like we normally would. We're going to treat this the same way that we would treat 34 times 4, right? We would do 4 times 4 is 16. 4 times 3 is 12, plus the 1 at the top would be 13, right? 136, okay? We treat this the same, except there's a decimal, right? So we would do 4 times 4, that's 16. And then we would do 4 times 3, that's 12, plus 1 is 13. Where's the decimal? It stays in line, right there, okay? Later on, we will be doing a decimal times the decimal, and it will be a little bit different on where to put the decimal. But if you are multiplying by a whole number, your decimal is going to stay in the exact same spot. So you would just bring that decimal down and you can line that up. But notice, again, we are not going to, I'm going to use blue, we are not going to line up the decimal here, right? Because yes, that 4 is in the ones place, but when we set the problem up, we are only pushing all of the digits to the right. Okay? Let's do another one. Let's do one that's a little bit more difficult. And it's not really that much more difficult. The numbers are a little bit heavier, right? 23 is a little bit larger than what we were multiplying with a minute ago with 4. But the process stays the same. So to start, let's go ahead and set up our problem. We would do 9.2 or 9 2/10 times 23. Okay, all of my numbers are pushed to the right, right? So we would go ahead and begin. So we would do 3 times 2, which is 6. We would do 3 times 9, which is 27. And as a quick review, in multiplication, we already know how to use the standard algorithm, right? But whenever we move on to the next number or the multiplying by the tens place, we would mark out the ones place, add our 0, and continue, right? So I'm going to use blue to show that I'm multiplying by the tens place. We would do 2 times 2, which would be 4, and then 2 times 9 would be 18, right? And I'm going to go back to red for a minute, and we add these two partial products together. We get 6 plus 0 is 6, 7 plus 4 is 11, 1 plus 2 is 3, and then 3 plus 8 is 11 again, and then 1 plus 1 is 2. So you've got to be very careful because it's easy to just quickly circle that answer there and move on, right, and go to the next problem. But you cannot forget about the decimal, right? That is insanely important. If you do not have your decimal, your answer is going to be way, way off of your mark. It could be 10 or 100 times or 1,000 times off of what you need it to be. So again, we're just going to take that decimal and place it right back in the same position that it's in the beginning, right? So our final answer would be 211 and 6/10. Okay, and I want you guys to do the rest. That means you only have 6 problems left. And don't forget that whenever you're setting up a problem where you have a decimal times a whole number, you're going to kind of set up your problem the same way that you would set up just a normal multiplication problem, right? You would do 2 and 52 hundredths times 3. You would set it up the same way that you would set up 252 times 3. So I can go ahead and set these up for you guys while you're watching and maybe while you're writing down some notes or writing down each problem, I can go ahead and set these up for you. That way there's no confusion. You have plenty of practice in setting these up, and you'll be ready whenever we're setting these up in class to do these on your own and to also help other people, right? We learn things so that we can learn to help other people, right? So help your friends in class. Like if they don't understand, if they're struggling with setting up one of these equations, you can help them out with that, right? Because you've had practice, you've watched the video, and you can help them out with that. And that would be a very good friend. And so now I know you guys have been waiting for the superhero. Today's superhero, we've got to zoom way in to see him, but it's Ant-Man. So if you write Ant-Man on a sheet of paper and write your name on there and give that to your teacher, they will give you a dojo point. They'll give you a normal size dojo point, though, not like a little bitty Ant-Man one, right? So if you guys need to rewatch this video or go back and pause it, you guys can use this however you need to. Please finish this homework and give it your best as always. Don't give up. Ask your teachers for help. We are ready to help you and we want to help you. All right. Have a great week, guys.